Hello everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Natalia if you're new here. I'm out of breath. I'm literally out of breath because I was just running around. And then I sat down to film this. Anyways, hi, welcome. We're gonna be doing my March reading wrap up. I only have like this tiny stack here because I read a lot on my Kindle and library books and things like that. I read like, oh my god. Okay, sorry. I was really out of breath. I look horrendous. But I didn't like feel like just doing all my makeup just to like yap about books for like 10 minutes. So 10 minutes, who am I kidding? More like 30 minutes. Anyway, so I look kind of crazy, but it is what it is. You guys are here for book recs, right? And you think I'm beautiful as I am, right? Okay, anyway. I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 books in the month of March. Wow, that's like the most I've done in a long time. That's crazy. I could have made it to 20 if I pushed. Anyway, we're gonna go over all of those books. We'll mix in ARCs and library books and my physical TBR, which I need to get down some. As you can see, I'm gonna go grab a book I forgot about and then we're gonna start talking about books. I'm also sorry that this is like so off center, but we're not professionals over here. Okay, also if you hear any children outside or my husband talking, they are playing outside doing yard work, so that's that noise. And I'm filming this super quickly because I need to go get dinner started. Anyways, also I live next to an Air Force base, so if you hear airplanes, sorry. I'm out of breath. Are you guys annoyed yet? Okay. The first book I read to set the month of March off was this gem of a book that I will never stop talking about. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I think I actually have a vlog coming out where I read this, or it's already out. I don't remember. I'm so behind on my videos. It's been a crazy month. Anyways, this is Deep End. This story is following Scarlett, who they nickname Vandy in the book, and she is a professional diver, and there's a difference between diver and swimmer, just to let you know. She's a professional diver and she is on this team in college, I want to say. Maybe it's after college, but I think it's in college. And one day she stumbles across one of her friends, Penelope, and Penelope's boyfriend having a conversation and kind of like breaking up. And she overhears this and she kind of like inserts herself because she has this thing about men. She's like super not afraid of men, but she kind of like is taken aback by men because she thinks she's only had experiences with men who are like loud and like over boisterous, if that's how you say it, like just very much how men can be, if you will. So she kind of steps in and she's like, hey, are you guys okay? Like, because Penelope's crying. And she's like, oh my god, yeah, we're fine. We're just kind of like breaking up. And she's like, well, can I talk to you really quick? And she pulls Penelope to the side. Penelope's like, yeah, my boyfriend Lucas, he's just into really kinky stuff and I'm not, and I just can't make it work anymore. And Scarlett, or Vandy, she's like, well, I'm kind of into kinky stuff. I could help you if you want, so you guys can like not have to break up. And Scarlett's like, no, it's done deal. A little bit later in the story, she kind of like Penelope kind of insinuates that her and Scarlett and Lucas should get together because they are both into the same thing, and they're both like, but then we can obviously see what happens. I gave this book 5 stars. There's not an Ali Hazelwood book in this universe that I don't like. This book wasn't necessarily like kinky, the kinkiest of kinky books, which I'm completely fine with. It was spicy enough for me, but I know there's people out there who are into like, you know, super duper spice, and maybe this doesn't appeal to you, but it was good enough for me. And it, you know, had me sweating. So I was like, you know what? I don't know what you guys are talking about. This crap is spicy. But I can see why people might not like it if they don't think it's spicy enough, because maybe the kink between the two of them didn't get explored enough. That's just not the kind of like vibe that I'm into. So I didn't judge it based off that. I judged it based off of my favorite writing, which is Ali Hazelwood's writing. She's so good and funny, and she writes the most quirky but like strong, smart female characters, and the most caring cinnamon roll men. Like cinnamon roll as in they're like soft inside, but they're like dark on the outside, if that makes sense. I could go on about this book forever, but this was just another Ali Hazelwood masterpiece in my opinion, and I cannot wait to reread it. Obviously it's freaking stunning. Like, she did her big one with this one. That's all I'm gonna say. I've already been talking for 6 minutes and we're on to the first book. Okay, the next one is Water Moon. I'm probably gonna throw pictures up somewhere around me, but this is one of the books that I got from the library that I had to return. If you see me looking at my phone, I'm just like looking at notes and stuff like that. But basically this book follows, I forget her name. What's her name? Hannah. This book follows Hannah, and she inherits a pawn shop, and on the day she is set to inherit her father's pawn shop, she notices that the place is ransacked and it looks like they've been robbed and her father is missing. And because of that, she goes on a journey to find him. Now, this is not just any regular pawn shop. This is like a magical pawn shop where people who need to go there can find it. Not everyone can find this pawn shop. It's just certain people who have a huge decision to make or choice to make. They stumble upon this pawn shop and they sell their choices. It's giving very much fever dream. It was such a magical book. The journey that we go on to find Hannah's father was so fun, in my opinion. There's a little bit of romance, which a lot of the criticism that I see is people being like, I just didn't connect with the romance. And I liked it. Sometimes I just want a book where it's not super, you know, deep into the romance. Sometimes it's just like they like each other, they fall in love, you know? It's not, I guess you could say I'm just not a harsh rater or like book reviewer. I don't expect too much in my books, I guess. I just have to, you know, enjoy the vibe, and I'm giving you 5 stars. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. With that being said, just because, I don't know, I guess at some points I kind of just like, not that I was bored of the story, it just wasn't like the best thing that I've ever read, if that makes sense. It was super magical and it was really fun, and I really want to purchase this book to have on my shelves because I think that it would be a super fun book to reread someday and, you know, give to my friends or my kids or somebody, anybody who is interested in that type of book. I really liked it and I highly recommend it. Okay, the next one is a ARC. It is called Writer's Block by Waitlin Andrews. Once again, I'm looking at my phone because I have most of my reviews and everything on Goodreads. You can follow me on Goodreads. It'll be linked down below. But basically, this book is following our girl Mia, and Mia is a California girl, okay? And she's also a writer, and she's writing a country romance, and she sends it into different publishers, and they all kind of like veto it. They're like, nah, this is not for us. One publisher so graciously gives her feedback and is like, hey, this feels like you're like a California girl. Like, you don't know anything about living in the South or being a cowboy or anything like that. You should, you know, do your research and then rewrite it, and we'll like visit this later. So she's telling her friend about this at like a book club or something, I forget. And her friend's like, oh my gosh, my family owns this farm in, I think, Colorado. And they like allow people to stay there. There's like cabins, whatever. And so she's like, okay, let's go. So she's going to this property in Colorado, and she meets Eric, I believe his name is, and he's just like your grumpy old cowboy, you know what I mean? He immediately takes a liking to Miss Mia, and it's kind of like their romance and her kind of just like figuring out that she likes it down here in Colorado, and she's a country girl. This one was okay to me. I didn't love it. I just felt like it was missing something. I'm not quite sure what it was missing. I just didn't connect with the story or really the romance. I didn't find it all that romantic. if you will. There was things I liked about this book though. Every title chapter had like a song before the chapter, and the song kind of related to the chapter. So I thought that was super cute and fun and different. And yeah, it was okay. I gave it 2 stars. Oh, man, I didn't like it as much as I'm saying. I gave it 2 stars, yeah. You know what? That's me being kind of rough. Like, I would give it like... Because honestly, you guys, a 3-star book to me is still a really, really good book. 2 stars is more like, meh, it was okay. And 1 star is like, no. You know what I mean? So 2 stars sounds bad, but in my head, it's really not that bad. Okay, this was another library book that I got. It's Flirting with Disaster by Nina Kumar. I don't know how to say her name. I'm so sorry. I was initially intrigued by this because I heard somebody that I watch on BookTube say it was like a second chance marriage trope in the middle of a hurricane. So basically, like, we're following, what is her name? Mina. And Mina is like this big lawyer in Washington, D.C. and she's... My daughter's crying out there. I can hear her. Don't worry, her father is out there. And Mina's like a big city lawyer, and she is going to run with her partner, her boyfriend, if you will. And in order for that to happen, she has to get a divorce. And she is still married to her last husband. It's kind of like a Sweet Home Alabama retelling, if you will. And so because of that, she travels to Texas, and on the day she arrives and she shows up to his house, he's like, what are you doing here? It's supposed to be a giant hurricane, like everybody's shutting down. He was like putting up hurricane windows. Like, she's like, what? I had no idea, like nobody told me. And so they get like honkered down in his house, and this is kind of just like them figuring out what went wrong, kind of like rehashing the past and caring for each other during this hurricane. And I thought it was really, really sweet. I ended up giving it 3 stars, which is still really good for me. It was just one of those books that's like, oh, this is so cute, but you know, I don't know if I'd ever reread it. I thought the premise was different, and I liked how it was like Sweet Home Alabama retelling, just in a different way. So I gave that 3 stars. Okay, another library book was Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. I saw this on my Libby, and I was like, you know what? I've been hearing really good things about that. So I picked it up, and basically this is kind of like an Orange is the New Black type of vibe. So we have Mary, and Mary is kind of in a group home of girls because when she was really, really little, I'm talking like 5 or something, she was accused, and not just accused, she was like, what is it called, like acquitted when you're like guilty, of killing her little tiny baby. It's not her sister, it's like her mom's friend's daughter that they were like really close with. So she was accused of killing this baby, and she like spent her time in prison, and then she ended up going to this like group home. This group home is like freaking horrible. The women who run it are just like super rude and disgusting, and the people in the group home, the other girls, are like bullying her and stealing and fighting each other, and you can't really do anything about it because nobody really cares. And so, oh, by the way, Mary is a black girl, and she killed this like little white baby, so she gets like a lot of hate for, you know, killing a little white baby. This is kind of like a tough book to read if you're like very sensitive about babies, which I am. So it was a little hard to get through, but it was such a crazy story. Like, so we're following Mary and kind of like her life, and we get to know like Mary's mom and what Mary's mom did to contribute to Mary being in prison. We follow Mary's boyfriend in prison, if you will, and she ends up getting pregnant in prison. That's all I'll say about that because I don't want to spoil too much. And once she gets pregnant in prison, things just start to go crazy because she's like, you know what, I'm no longer gonna sit in prison, I'm gonna do something about this. And it's just so crazy because who you think ended up killing that baby is not who you think it is, if you know what I mean. It was 5 stars. It was insane. Like, literally on my seat till the very last second. When I found out who did it at the very last second, my jaw was on the floor. That's all I have to say. So I'm definitely going to check out other books by Tiffany D. Jackson because that one was crazy. Okay, the next one I listen to as well, I got from Hoopla from my library, is The Body in the Bookstore. Something I'm really going to focus on here on out is cozy mysteries, because I love cozy mysteries. I fly through them. I think they're so good and fun, and I do not buy them enough. I do not read them enough, so I'm definitely going to get into my cozy mystery area. But this one is era. This one is by Ellie Alexander, and basically we're following, what is her name? I always forget names. Annie. And Annie works at a kind of like Agatha Christie inspired bookstore in kind of like their small little town, and she doesn't own the bookstore, but she works for a little old man who, he's kind of getting too old to like run it by himself, and it's kind of like failing, like, you know, Barnes and Noble, the big guys winning, if you will. So Annie kind of comes up with this idea to throw this like mystery festival for the whole town, because not only will it bring business to their bookstore, but it will bring business to like the local coffee shop and the local this and that, you know. So she comes up with this like big mystery festival, and on the day of the festival she's kind of like doing her thing, setting up like author interviews and things like that, when she stumbles upon a dead body in her bookstore. And so this is kind of just like Annie figuring out what happened. She obviously has it in with the local police, and we're getting to know all of the characters of this like small cozy town, and could they have done it? We don't know. It was really, really good. I ended up giving it 5 stars. I think I gave it 5 stars mostly because it was like my first book back in the cozy mystery genre. I was reading the Hannah Swanson, Joanne Fluke ones, and I like stopped reading them, and I just picked this one up on a whim, and I just love it. I love the cozy mystery. Everything about this was so good. It's so cozy. Like, I don't get how people don't like these. So yeah, 5 freaking stars for that one. Next one was an ARC. We're getting into physical ones, don't worry. But this one was an ARC. This is The Last Fairy Out by Andrea Bartz. I requested this on NetGalley because I did read We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz, and I think I gave that book like 4 or 5 stars. I really liked it. So when I saw this on NetGalley, I immediately requested it. But basically, we are following Abby, and Abby is traveling to this kind of like remote island in Mexico, because this is the last place her fiance was when she died. Her fiance's name is like Esther, but they spelled it weird, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But she basically died in the Airbnb in this like little island on Mexico of asphyxiation. I'm probably not saying that right, but basically she ate something she was allergic to, and she like choked and died in her Airbnb. So Abby takes a ferry to this like small island in Mexico, and the people that she meets when she's there, the people that she meets when she's there are called expats. It's like a group of American, Australian, different kind of people who are not like native to the land. And she starts talking to these people, and she's like, yeah, did you guys run into this is my fiance, like this is the last place she was here. And some of them have memories of her fiance, and Abby starts to kind of like get freaked out by all of these different expats, because she's like, they seem a little sketchy. Like, some of them would like withhold information, and then she would find out from a different person this information. And I really liked this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars because I didn't expect the ending at all. But the only thing I will say is Abby was so annoying to me. Like, the whole book, I felt like she was way too trusting of everybody she was around, of these people she didn't know. She would find out just like damning information about one of the expats, but then she would go to another one of the expats and be like, I found out this information about so and so. I just thought that was like the craziest thing, because why would this expat trust you more than the expat that you're talking about? You know what I mean? I just felt like she was way too trusting of people, and it got her into like a world of hurt. And I guess the author did that to kind of keep us on our toes, to be like, oh, did this expat do it, or did this expat do it, or did this expat do it? I don't know, you know? But that just wasn't my vibe. I thought she was way too trusting, and it was kind of weird for me, but it ended up being a really good story. I gave it 4 stars because I did enjoy my time. I kind of flew through it, so yeah, that was that. And it's called The Last Fairy Out because obviously something happens on the day that she has to leave, you know? So anyway. The next book I read for the month was A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I'm currently filming a video reading books on my TBR or unhauling them, and this one I've had on my TBR since like 2019, so a really long time. So I did pick it up. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I'm not really gonna go into what it is about and like my feelings, because like I said, I do have a whole vlog coming. I'm filming some more books that I'm reading, so you guys will see my review if you want to on A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Just know I really loved it. Okay, next book. The next book was an ARC. It was called Sunny Side Up, and I did give it 2 stars. I requested this on NetGalley because it said something about being like a body positivity story, and she was like a plus size woman, and I was like, that's always fun to read. So it's kind of just like a little chick lit kind of romance type book. Anyways, we're following Sunny, and Sunny is recently divorced, and she's going on this like vacation with her divorced friends, and she walks into this department store to find a bathing suit, and she immediately has like this anxiety because she already knows she's not going to find anything in her size, and the sizes that they do find for her are just like ugly and they don't fit anyway. And so she has this like whole meltdown, and she kind of like, because of this meltdown, she kind of like invents her own bathing suit brand, if you will. Just like that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, invents her own bathing suit brand. She also is like an owner of a super high up brand. She's basically built it from the ground by herself in New York City, owns like a brownstone or whatever those rich apartments are, and she also runs a blog that she hadn't posted on in years, and then all of a sudden posted on and became a hit overnight. Everybody's reading it. Now, if you can tell from my tone, I just felt like it was a little bit unbelievable. It just felt like so not realistic to me. She also would like, we're following her going on dates with these different men in her life, and this like rich CEO hot guy immediately sees her, falls in love with her, and also the really sweet hot mailman falls in love with her. And then there's even one point where she's naked in her apartment, and the freaking construction worker off the road sees her and immediately falls in love with her. But none of these relationships like work out for different reasons, but it just felt so unrealistic, because I feel as a plus size woman, personally, I feel like it's not that easy to always have a man, you know what I mean? I just felt like it was just, all of it was so unreliable. Like the fact that she ran a blog that was super popular, she lived in New York, she owned her own business, she created this bathing suit, it just felt not real, and I just didn't like it that much. So I gave it 2 stars. It was just kind of like a slice of life story, if you will. Like it wasn't that great. My camera is dying, so I might have to finish this and come back later because we're only halfway through the books. And anyways, if it dies, I'll be back. But anyways, this is Sword Heart. This is the next book that I read, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. This was so funny. This was my first T. Kingfisher book, and yes, I said it was funny because I genuinely thought it was like a fun time. So we're following what's her name? Hala. And Hala is recently widowed, and she went to her like uncle's house to take care of him when he passed away. And because she was widowed and she took care of him, her uncle left his like fortune in her name. So when he passed away, she inherited everything, and her family found out that she inherited everything, and they kind of like try to bully her into marrying her cousin and letting them inherit said fortune. And because of that, she's like, ew, no, I'm not marrying my cousin. Not only is that weird, but he's gross. And because of that, they lock her in this room and like treat her like crap. And so one day she's going to literally like, and she pulls out this sword that she found in the room, and out pops a man. His name is Sarkis, and he is her sworn protector. I'll leave it at that because it was so good. He literally falls in love with her, and because he's like in the sword, He's a man made of a sword. Their relationship is kind of difficult. They go on this journey to help Hala, but also figure out Sarkis's whole deal. And it was so, so good. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't give it 5 just because I felt... Okay, I'm back. There's things in my teeth. Ignore it. I had to make dinner for the kids and they're being very chaotic right now. So if you hear them, that's what the noise is. Anyways, I was talking about Sword Heart last, I think, but the next book that I read was Love and Other Conspiracies. This one surprised me. I ended up giving it 5 stars. When this release was like October or something of last year, I don't remember, but I always had it on my radar. I just never like purchased it for myself, and so I saw it on Libby and I downloaded it and I liked it so much. So we're following Haley, and Haley works for like this TV company, or like not TV, it's like online type of video company, and basically she's like hunting for the next biggest show because she like wants to make her boss like see her, because she works with her ex who kind of just like is down on her all the time and is just like a big bully. So one night she's watching TV, and late at night this show like called like something conspiracy comes on, and she sees this guy and he's like super hot, and he's having like this show about like different conspiracies like aliens or Bigfoot or ghosts or whatever, and she's like, that's my guy. So she like contacts him and end up like doing a show together, and she ends up being dragged into it because like their chemistry between the two of them was like so good, and it was getting like a ton of views, and it's kind of just like their love story, and it's just super cute and funny because during the whole story they're like filming the show and they talk about different like conspiracies, and she's like a super non-believer and he's like, they're like bantering back and forth because he's like, no, it's real, like, and it was just so stinking cute. Like I liked it so much, and I just saw that she's coming out with another one called Love at First Sighting, and it's got like an alien on the cover. I'm so excited, and I need to buy it because I don't own it physically, but I will 100% reread it. And I forget what his name was, but he's like a nerdy little dude, and I just love a nerd, to be very honest with you. Okay, the next one is a library book, but I still have it checked out. So it's Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. This one I gave 2 stars. I'm not gonna lie, when I read it, I just don't think it was like the right time. Do you ever feel like it's like, not the book, but it's kind of just like your mind, and like it's just not the right time for a book sometimes? So I don't know if I should like revisit this or if it's just not the book for me. I'm kind of uncertain, but if I ever get the feeling like I want to go back to it, I can just buy it. But basically this story is following, what's her name? I always forget the names. Theo. And Theo is going up to her, I think it's fiance, or it's just her boyfriend, I'm not sure, but they're going to his like mansion in the middle of the woods for like Christmas or something like that, and his name is Connor, and he brings her up there, and it's super isolated, snowy. The family is very sketchy, and they're also like super rich and kind of like uppy, so she kind of just doesn't really fit in off the bat. But basically while Thea's there, she kind of has like memories of this place, and she also just feels like she has been here before, but she can't really remember because she was adopted, and she doesn't remember much about her family before she was adopted by a certain family. So this is kind of following Theo's backstory, and then her kind of finding out where she is, why she's there. We find things out about her boyfriend or fiance, and it's just kind of like a little twisty little thriller. I don't know, I just didn't really connect like I wanted to. My daughter's crying if you hear her. Anyways, I just didn't connect like I wanted to. I just feel like it was I was zoning out, to be very honest with you. I don't know if there was like too many things going on or what it was. I just didn't love it, but you might love it, so give it a try if you're into Kate Alice Marshall. I've read a couple of things by her and I did like them, but I just didn't connect with that one. Okay, so the next book I read was Any Trope But You, and I was super surprised by this one. I requested it as an ARC on NetGalley after seeing like a lot of people give it 5 stars, and I totally understand why. I also gave it 5 stars because it was just so freaking good. So we're following Margaret, and Margaret is a romance author who does not believe in romance. She writes HEAs or happily ever afters, but she doesn't believe in them. So every romance book that she's ever written, she has a folder with an alternate ending that is not an HEA. So one day she's doing like a Zoom interview for like a podcast, and her computer gets hacked and they post all of her like not HEAs. So she gets like exposed for not being like an honest romance author. And so because of that, everybody's canceling her. And so her sister who's like disabled, who Margaret kind of takes care of and is like, she loves her sister so much, they're super close, but her sister Savannah decides like, hey, you need to go isolate yourself and write a book. Maybe not a romance book, but you need to write because, you know, this is what you love doing, and it's like sad that you don't believe in love, so you just need to go like have a moment, right? So she goes to like this remote village in Alaska, and the first day that she goes there, she runs into, what is his name? I forget. Forrest. And immediately once she gets there, every trope you can imagine keeps happening to her, and she's like, why is this happening? She's so frustrated because she's like, I don't believe in these things, like this is so crazy. Like he ends up saving her from a moose when she first gets there, so he's like kind of like doing the hero trope, and they got like the one bed trope, and then he ends up being a doctor, and then like all of these different tropes. That was so cute, and she was just like so angry because they kept on popping up, and he was like perfect. So she goes to Alaska, and Forrest and her don't really get along at first, but that's more kind of on her side than his side. He's kind of just like there taking care of his family and his dad, because his dad is also like disabled, and he's taking care of his dad and running his Airbnb, or I'm sorry, I think it's like a bed and breakfast hotel. But yeah, so it's kind of like their love story and her believing in happily ever afters again, and it was just so good and cute, and it spoke to my heart, and I had to give it 5 stars. Definitely check it out. It was an ARC when I read it, but I think it's released now, so you can definitely go check it out. Anyways, next book that I read was Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is another one that I read for my reading books off of my TBR or unhauling them, so I won't go into all of the details because I do go into it in that vlog that you will see soon, but this is just as good as everyone says it is, and I don't know why I waited so long to read it. I definitely can't wait to reread this also, so that was super good. Another library book that I had to return was Amid the Clouds and Bones, and looking at this now, I gave it 4 stars, but why do I want to give it 5? It was so good. I kind of missed the world. I picked it up because it was marketed to me as a standalone fantasy romance, and those are kind of hard to find because all of them are usually in a series, but it ended up being a standalone. But anyways, I wish it wasn't though. I wish it wasn't, to be very honest. Anyways, so we're following, what's her name? Mildred. I think it's Mildred. It doesn't say it here. I can't remember, but I think it's Mildred because he calls her Dread, like short for Mildred. I don't know. Anyways, so this is following Mildred, and from the time she's a kid, she's like sworn to marry this, they call him like the Unseelie King. He's like super evil, just bad. He's a bad guy, or he's not like a bad guy, but they call him the Unseelie King because he's called like the king with no heart, because he just doesn't really have emotions or a heart or whatever. But she's sworn to marry him, and from the day they meet, he does not like her. He makes fun of her, he bullies her. It's like actually enemies to lovers. Like they are actual enemies. And I want to give it 5 stars because I do not find books anymore that are actual enemies, and this was that. It was so, they loathed each other. They loathed each other. Him, so she moves into his kingdom. They kind of fight and bicker, and as they fight and bicker, they kind of are getting closer to each other, but they both still act like enemies even though they are getting closer to each other. And one day she kind of like disappears. I won't go into how she does it, but she kind of pops up in this other kingdom, and I forget what his name was, but another guy comes into the picture, another king, and he wants to marry Mildred because for some reason if he marries Mildred it like saves his kingdom. I won't go into it because it's so much, but basically she kind of falls in love with this guy, but things happen and she ends up thinking of Attican, or however you say his name, the unseelie king. And yeah, it's a whole thing. It's so good. If you're looking for like a standalone fantasy romance with not too much like political intrigue, more so just like there's like a little bit, but also the plot's not too difficult. It was just easy to understand. It was fun. It was spicy. It was a good freaking time. I want to give it 5 stars because honestly it's one of those books that I will reread, but I'll leave it at 4 for now. But I do think it deserves a 5, to be very honest with you. It was very good. And that was by Ella Fields. Another arc that I read was so good. I gave it 5 stars. Julie Chan is Dead. The minute I saw this on NetGalley, I requested it because it sounded so good. So we're following Julie Chan. She's like down on her luck. She works at this grocery store, and one day while she's working, her long lost twin walks in the building and is filming a YouTube video. Her twin, her name is Chloe. They got separated when they were like really young, and Chloe ended up going to like the super wealthy rich white people's family, and then Julie ended up going with the aunt, and the aunt was like abusive and just like mentally draining, and Julie didn't have like a good experience. But Chloe on the other hand was like rich and famous, and she was really a super popular influencer, and so Julie always kept up with Chloe because she was like this huge influencer. But one day Chloe walks in and is filming a YouTube video, and she's like, I bought my long lost twin sister a house. And so they're like filming this video, and Julie is like crying. She's like, oh my god, Chloe, like I didn't even know you knew who I was anymore, like whatever. And when they stopped filming, Chloe was like, peace out. She just left, right? And so Chloe makes this YouTube video. They part ways. She posts it. Julie like hates Chloe. She's like, she's so horrible. But then one day Julie gets a call from Chloe, and it's like a big muffled sound, and Chloe's like, I'm sorry, and then it gets hung up. And so Julie is like, what was that? She tries calling Chloe back for days, but Chloe doesn't answer, and so she ends up going to New York City where Chloe lives, finding her apartment, and the dude who is like in charge of that building ends up letting Julie into Chloe's apartment because she thinks Julie is Chloe. And so when Julie goes there, she finds Chloe dead. And what does Julie do when she finds Chloe dead? She takes her life, literally takes her whole entire life. And then we follow Julie pretending to be Chloe, meeting with Chloe's friends, posting like an influencer as Chloe, and then Julie gets in this whole big mess with this kind of like group of friends that Chloe has who are super weird, and they go on this like trip that they do every year where they do super weird things, and it was insane. If you are on the internet in any capacity, you will love this book. It was just so funny to read about Julie trying to be an influencer, and she would say things like filming in a suicide force, which if you know, Logan Paul famously did, or she would be like, I got so many PR packages that I stacked them all behind me and I did an unboxing. And if you follow any type of beauty influencer, they do things like that. It was just like so good, and it felt super like, I don't know, it was just super good. And the whole taking her sister's life thing was insane. Like, what an unhinged plot. I loved it so much. That's like my favorite type of plot, when it's absolutely unhinged. So yeah, I did give that one 5 stars. The next one I read was Seeing Red by Bailey Hannah. I got the arc for Change of Heart, which is the 3rd book in the Wells Ranch series, and I only had read Alive and Wells, which Alive and Wells was like chef's kiss. It almost beat Chestnut Springs by Elsie Sower. That whole series, it almost beat it. And then I read Seeing Red. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't care how Change of Heart goes, this book, top of the Chestnut Spring. Like, she beat all of them. She beat all of them. This was so good to me. I had such a fun time. This is following Red, who's part of Wells Ranch. He is a cowboy there. He's not technically a part of the family, but the family kind of like integrated him. But basically he's the nickname Red because he has red hair, but he also has like a temper. But one night they're at a bar and Cassidy sees her ex, who just recently broke up with her, kissing on another girl, dancing with another girl, whatever. She gets so mad and she's like talking to Red, and then all of a sudden she's like, let's hook up on top of his car. And Red is like, no, 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 I'm not doing that. And she's like, if you want to help me get back at him, if you care about me, you're going to be my friend, you're going to do this for me. So they end up hooking up and she ends up being pregnant, and this is just like their story. And let me tell you, the spice was spicing. Like, it was so freaking good. I was like, it was so good. But also the love story was just amazing. Cassidy and Red are just so good together. They're just like those 2 book characters that are just meant to be together, and I just loved this story so much. I could rant about it forever, but this video is already long enough. So I'm just gonna leave it at the fact that this book has topped Chestnut Springs for me. I haven't read Change of Heart, so I don't know if the series as a whole is going to be like my favorite cowboy series, but I have really, really high hopes, and I really hope that it does, because this book, ooh, was so good. The first one was good, but this one was so good. Loved it. Okay, what to talk about. So the next one was an arc, Some Like It Scott by Pepper Basham. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I got this as an ALC from NetGalley. I just requested it because sometimes I just like to request random ALCs from NetGalley because I can go through an audiobook faster. So I got approved, and I didn't really know anything about it, but it is labeled as a Christian romance, so it's completely clean of spice, which I love that. Sometimes you don't always need spice, you know? But basically this is following Katie, and Katie is like a travel writer. She basically takes other people's stories, travels around the world, takes other people's stories, and kind of like posts them for whoever she works with, and just like continues on traveling from place to place. She doesn't really like have a home, but she ends up going to Scotland, and when she goes there, she's staying at this like manor house, and she runs into this super grumpy Scottish guy named, I forget his name, but she ends up running into him, and just like the whole like, and running into like different people in the town, and she ends up just like falling in love with the town and like the quirky people, and the descriptions of Scotland are just so good and made me want to go so bad. It just sounded so beautiful, and I just love a Scottish accent, which this book does have. And yeah, I thought the prose was gorgeous, the writing was gorgeous, and just like the descriptions of everything. I just feel like I gave it 3 stars because it was a good book. It just wasn't like a book that I'm gonna want to read forever. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna want to reread it, to be honest. Like, I thought it was good. I just didn't, I don't know. It was really cute though if you're looking for a little Scottish romance that is clean. The last book I read for the month didn't hit as hard as I wish it would have, and it didn't like let me in March with a bang, but that's okay. This is Good Game by Madison Fox. I used to watch Madison Fox's YouTube videos, but she kind of quit posting on YouTube. But she's still active on Instagram. But at the time when I was watching her, she was just now releasing this book. And so I bought it. It was sitting on my shelf. I decided to just randomly pick it up. So this story follows Stevie and Alex. And basically Alex is like this huge online streamer, and he streams himself playing games, but he wears like a mask so nobody knows who he is in real life. And one night Stevie's like working at this influencer event, and immediately they like hook up at the event in the most craziest way, and he like saves her from like being attacked by her ex-boyfriend's friend. I don't know, it's like this whole thing. And then from that moment on, it's just like pure infatuation with each other. And then there's like a lot of just, it kind of just felt super unreal to me. It felt like, I don't know, it felt like kind of privileged almost. Like Stevie was just like this rich girl, and he was just like immediately attracted to her and was like, you know what, that's my girl, that's my wife. And there was just like nothing like inherently special about her. I didn't feel like there was anything like that connected them. It was just like this like lustful attraction, and then all of a sudden he's like, you know what, that's the girl for me, that's in game right there. Like, I don't know, it just felt very weird and off to me. I have heard that the other 2 books in the series are a lot better, and she has like progressed as a writer, so I don't know if I will check out those, but it's definitely like on my radar if I'm ever feeling it again, because the other 2 books are about the other gamer, Twitcher, streamers who are in the System series. So I might check it out, but I didn't love this one. I just didn't love really Stevie as a character, so I don't know. But anyways, that was all I read in the month of March. Lots of ARCs, lots of library books, and a couple off my physical TBR. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It took me forever to film, but I really love wrap-ups because I love hearing about different books. And yeah, I don't know, I'm a wrap-up girl. Let me know, do you like book wrap-ups or do you just like reading vlogs? I'm gonna continue to post them anyways, but I want to know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you stayed this long, don't forget to subscribe because I hope to put out more bookish content in the future. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.